What's going on, y'all? It's Mike Anderson, and this is episode 1 of the podcast that I do not have a name for yet, but we're going to rock it anyway. A testament to just taking action and not spending too much time thinking about things. So, today we're going to be covering a topic that I'm sure a few people are wondering out there from the coaching industry is why I decided to leave the business coaching space and what I'm doing now. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment any questions that you have below. If you're on the podcast, share it with a friend who might be interested. And there's probably not too many people that are interested in this outside of people who know me from the coaching industry. So we're going to be talking about why I left Automated Coaching Engine and what happened, what I learned, and what I'm doing now. So when it comes to the coaching space and what happened with Automated Coaching Engine, there's multiple reasons why I decided to put that business in the past. There's business reasons, there's personal reasons, the whole gamut. But really what it comes down to is I learned a huge lesson that I think a lot of people can take from my journey in the coaching industry and the mistakes that I made running Automated Coaching Engine. And the biggest mistake that I made was optimizing for the easiest close as opposed to optimizing for the best client. So I'm going to get into that a little bit and then get into some other reasons why I decided to step away from that business. But that reason right there is a huge one that I think a lot of people can learn from is I think that when you are a young business owner and you're just looking to make cash, generate revenue, grow a big business, and you have all these big goals, you end up just doing anything you can to bring revenue in the door, and you start to look at where you can bring in revenue as opposed to where you're building a sustainable business. And that's a big mistake that I see across young entrepreneurs like myself. So when I was running the coaching business, I started to see the fact that we had a product market fit in an audience that truthfully I didn't 100% resonate with. And looking back on it, I should have understood ahead of time that the fit for the service and the client wouldn't be the best optimized fit overall. That audience ended up being a lot of spiritual coaches, a lot of elderly women that would purchase the service, and it became an audience that we knew we could advertise to. We knew their problem, we knew their pain points, we knew that we could close them, but ultimately on the service standpoint, there was a misalignment, right? Because me being a 26-year-old male, I'm changing every day, right? I have different things that I learn on a day-to-day basis. I'm learning more about myself on a day-to-day basis, just like any young man is. And throughout my time, I noticed that this market was one that we could sell to and that we could sell a lot of services to. However, what I noticed on the back end was that the misalignment was in the coaching because it was a lot tougher for me to be the coach that I wanted to be with this audience because there was a lot of dynamic to think about with masculine and feminine energy and the way that how they the life that they were living at the time of their life in correlation with or compared to the life that I was living at my stage of my life, right? So this led to a really big disconnect where I could have been a better coach. I could have understood that situation ahead of time, but I didn't, right? And given the fact we ended up working with an audience that one just truthfully didn't put in the work the way that we thought that they would. Two, the service wasn't the best for them, given the fact that they had a different energy towards business. And three, it just wasn't aligned with who we are as individuals and as business owners, me and my business partner. So further down the line, we started to understand that the people who got the best results with us were this people similar to us, young men in business that were high performance coaches, fitness coaches, stuff like that. And they started to crush it. Like we've got tons of client testimonials and experiences with us through that type of audience. But the problem we made was we were optimizing all of our marketing to that audience that it wasn't necessarily working out the best for, or that was causing a lot of client problems. So that was a huge lesson to be learned because I think like I said, as a young business owner, you were just looking at how can I bring in cash? I want to hit 100K months. I want to hit this. I want to hit that. So when you see an audience that you can close, you know that they need the service, and you make the decision to sell to them, you have to also think about on the back end, are they going to be the best client for you? And that was the question that we didn't ask ourselves. We just saw that. We saw the product market fit. We ran with it. And on the back end, we started to notice over time, and we noticed too late. We noticed when we had 100 people in the community that, oh shit, this isn't the best audience for us, right? So we noticed too late, and it caused a lot of client issues and different situations that just happened because of the fact that there was misalignments in the audience, and we made that decision. That's something I hold, but it's a lesson to be learned by other people, right? So that's the main thing that I learned over time, and the biggest lesson that I learned. Now, when we talk about other reasons why I pivoted away from the coaching industry and didn't make a full pivot, which I'll talk about here, but when it comes to the coaching business as a whole, another problem that we ran into and another mistake that we made was we scaled so quickly from the time frame of like January or like December 2021 to February 2022, we scaled so fast in those 3 months that we overhired. So all of a sudden we turned around and we had a $50,000 a month overhead. And just to keep the lights on with the business, we had to do 50K cash. So when we were doing, 65, 75K cash with like 100, grand revenue months, we were barely even taking pay cuts out of that, which was frustrating as a business owner to see the business grow like that. So what we did was we hired way too fast. We ran into sales issues where we were building sales teams, having to go through multiple different sales reps. And over the course of all those problems just kind of piling up, it was almost like the beautiful synchronicity of all these problems meeting in the middle point. We just realized that it was time to let the business go. And that's from the business side. From the personal side, like I mentioned, one of the biggest things I've understood is that when you're a young man in business, you will change multiple times. And as you change, your love for certain industries will change. And that was something that happened to me personally. Was I started to just kind of drift away from the coaching industry as far as interest in a lot of different areas. And that led to me not being the best coach personally that I could have been in some circumstances. So, one of the biggest lessons I also learned from this whole thing is that you can't attach your identity to your business. And that was a huge mistake that I made. All of my goals, all of my aspirations, everything was revolved around this business that I was building. So all of my goals were, okay, if my goal is this amount per month in my pocket, this amount per month in revenue, this amount of people impacted, whatever, all of that was correlated to this business. So what ended up happening was I became so consumed by being that coach that I didn't really build a true personal brand around who I truly am. And I started to take on a persona of what I call like the content character. And I think this is huge throughout online space, is that a lot of people play the content character. It's not like their true identity or their true personality when you meet them in person. And usually in this case, those people are actually a lot cooler in person than they are through content. You see their content and you're like, okay, it's informative, this and that. But you meet them in person and you're like, this guy's a really cool dude. So that was the one thing I noticed about me, was I just started to wear the coaching hat so strong that I didn't showcase who I actually am as a human being. And I was just the business coach. So coaches, you can do this hack, you can do this hack. And I drifted away from who I truly am. And when I moved to Austin, which was in February of 2022, I came back a lot to who I truly am, because I'm around a lot of my good friends out here in Austin. So I started to revert back to like who I truly am, because when I was in Colorado previously, I didn't have a lot of friends around. So I was kind of in my own space, and my personality kind of drifted away in a sense. So when I came to Austin and came back into my true personality, I realized and felt this like huge misalignment between who I was online, who I was in the coaching community, and who I am around my friends and who I am in person. So ultimately, why I left the coaching industry was just a multitude of misalignments with the audience we were working with, misalignments with myself, and feeling like I wasn't being myself in my business, and wearing that like content character hat where you would see my content and then you'd meet me in person and feel like it was two different people in a sense. So ultimately, that's why we stepped away from the coaching industry, and to kind of parlay that into the next step of who I am, my experience, and what I'm doing now, is we actually learned in awesome lesson throughout this whole thing of what coaches need and what coaches need to grow a business. And I still have passion for coaches. I think that they're incredibly important. And I think that there's a lot of amazing coaches out there that I've worked with myself and that I've seen online and all these different things. So we were able to find a problem in the coaching industry that needs to be solved and that we can solve through an application. So in the next coming months, we're going to be announcing the app that we've created. I'm not going to expose too much here because there's a lot of legal that's going on, but super excited to put that out into the marketplace. I think it's something the coaching space needs, and it's something that is going to be huge not only for coaches but people that are looking for coaches. So super excited for that. That's one project I'm still working on, is the development of that application, getting it out into the marketplace, marketing, funding, all that stuff. And then the other thing that I've done is I've reverted back into my ecom experience. So prior to working in the coaching industry, alongside the other businesses that I ran in digital marketing and stuff like that, I have a lot of experience with drop shipping and ecom. When it came to Shopify, which was the first platform I started on, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, literally any platform you can think about that has drop shipping I have experience with. So I decided to partner with a really good friend of mine, Robert Miller, and I'm working with Automated Retail Commerce as the director of marketplace operations to run their Facebook Shops division. So I've pivoted back into the ecom space, which is a space that I thoroughly enjoy, alongside team building and directing a department is a huge passion of mine. So I think it's also a testament to the fact that sometimes I think you need to take a step back, look at the opportunities that are in front of you, and the culture nowadays is always going to push entrepreneurship as being the only channel that you can pursue. But sometimes you just need to step back and look at your opportunities, see what the best opportunity for you is, one that you enjoy, one that you're going to be valued, one that you're going to be compensated what you want to be compensated, and then work on your passion project alongside that. I think there's a lot of people that are just building businesses to make money and not building businesses that they're passionate about. So my passion project right now that I think is thoroughly, in all honesty, has the potential to be a $1 billion business is the app project that I'm working on while I'm working on the day-to-day with ARC in automated retail commerce and working the Facebook Shops division, which I love to do. So that's pretty much my story as to why we shut down Automated Coaching Engine, why I left the coaching space, and what I'm doing now. So there'll be a lot more episodes coming up in regards to all different random topics. I might even have a co-host on a lot of episodes here just to shoot the shit. Really, like I said, I didn't want to be that content character anymore. I want to step back into my own personality. So there's going to be a lot of different topics that we're going to cover, whether it's just current events like relationships, business, mindset, anything. So excited to take you all on this journey. Like I said in the beginning of this video and podcast, make sure to share it with a friend, like, comment, repost, all that stuff, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.